All right, super. Folks, thank you so much for joining session number 44 of AppliedAI Club. Glad to have you all here. If you are new to this forum, so we are AppliedAI Club, and we've been running for the last 1 year. So we are a club for folks to learn and gain practical experience working with AI. So we do a few things. The primary thing we do is this, where almost every weekend we try to have a session on a specific topic around AI. So we typically bring an expert who has practical experience working with it, and they take a session for about an hour where they teach us about a specific concept. So we have done this over 44 times, and the past sessions you can find it on our YouTube. All of those things are actually free, and even these sessions are actually completely free. Okay. The second thing we do is a study group. So study groups are a mechanism where uh, you know a group of interested folks actually come together and they work on a project together for a few weeks and create a practical application with which they can actually demo. It's a very, very nice way of building it by yourself and learning how to actually work with AI. So in fact, so today we are announcing the launch of our next study group, which is building finance agents using AI. So this is a study group where you will work on building either a personal finance or a corporate finance or any other kind of like finance related AI agents over a period of 3-4 weeks with the help of like we are here to facilitate this. The main person who is going to facilitate this is Nimit. Nimit is also a part of this call. And we also have a mentor, Gautam Muthukumar, who is also going to be mentoring the folks in creating these agents. So I'm not going to take too much of time. I'm going to paste the link for the study group in the chat. So if you're interested, do check it out. It is recommended for anybody who has kind of like a beginner experience working with AI. Okay, so yeah, do check that. The third thing we do is we also have a WhatsApp group. We have over 500 people. We try to keep it high signal, no noise. Mostly discuss about practical implications of day-to-day AI tools, how to solve problems, and generally sharing knowledge. So if you're interested, you can go to AppliedAI Club and just sign up over there. We'll add you to the WhatsApp group, and you can be part of it. And you can also get notifications of all these sessions like this in the future. All right, so that's a bit about the club. And coming on to today's session. So before we start today's session, a couple of housekeeping rules. Number one, this session is going to be recorded and put up on YouTube. So do not share any sensitive material. And if you do, please, let us know right after the call so that we can edit it out before we actually present. Number two is use the chat window for any kind of questions that you actually want to ask. Varun and Yash have agreed to spend some time towards the end to answer all of these questions, so you'll have the time. But if there is anything pressing, Nimit and I will be watching the chat, so we will interrupt the whole presenters at any point in time if it is extremely urgent. Okay. Yeah, so I've also enabled some controls on Zoom. So if you have trouble, unmuting yourself or trouble asking questions or doing anything else, just let me know. So we'll try to figure that stuff out while we actually go. Awesome. So without further ado, I want to invite Varun and Yash, today's presenters. I'm extremely excited because it is marketing has been a super important but like very, very lightly covered concept in our club and in general. Right. So I'm extremely happy to have Varun and Yash presenters. Varun and Yash together, they both worked at Times Pro. I've interacted with Varun quite some time back, and Varun runs his own company right now. But before I butcher their introduction, probably, probably spend a couple of minutes talking about what you guys actually do and take it away. Thank you.
Sure. Hi. I think I know a lot of you on the call. I'm ISB 09. Worked in education most of my tenure post ISB, which 16, 17 years. Earlier it was called education, then for some strange reason it was called edtech, which somehow has become a bad word. But variety of different roles, digital, P&L, product, more recently marketing and tech, and started using AI about 2 years ago. But we'll talk through that. now just started a company called Altiv.ai. It's a AI career readiness company, which means career navigation plus learning. Over to you, Yash.
Yeah, thanks for handing over, Varun. Hi everyone. I'm Yash. I'm a Mica alumnus, and I've been a brand guy through and through, working in companies like Internshala, Upgrad, Times Pro, and also Delivery. And yeah, just got into AI, looking to sort of build content through AI, and then bit the bug and through the Claude Code in terms of how to automate everything. So yeah, looking forward to being part of this group and showing something and learning something as well from all of you. Back to you, Varun.
Cool. So, Bala, I'll share my screen and get started.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Uh, so just if one of you can let me know if you can see my screen.
We can, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry guys, while the session is about Claude and using AI, sorry to, bring in a PPT, but I have my Claude window open. I'll at least show you some flavor of the conversation slightly later. I used the skill, uh, I think 10 days ago or something last. I still have a lot of it in my context. I don't know what that tells me. I'm not using my context window a lot, or, we all have that FOMO of using our whatever $100, $250 subscriptions well. But with that, right, I've called this session from spreadsheets to skills. Think of it as an AI marketing analyst with Claude Code. The reality why, I sort of got around to building this, and I'll also talk through the process or the iterative process I went through. But the reality wasn't, and by the way, restricted this to just Meta Ads Manager and not, other platforms like Google or Reddit or so on. Uh, but when I started doing some of this analysis, I figured that all the data is in these different silos. Well, there are many ways to connect them, but the data still sort of, sits in different places. If you look at the meta ads managers, there are at least three variables that are put there. What is the creative you're using? What are the audiences you're targeting? And what is the placement? The placement is simply like, are you going into feed? Are you going into reels? Where are you going, right? If you look at it that way, the variables just massively start multiplying. Because simply if you look at this, right, it's 3 by 3 by 3 and, by 2 by 1, right? It's 54 in that sense across these systems. But if within the bucket you look at it, there are a lot more variables because, as an example, uh, within a video, you have to look at many parameters like what is the hook rate? How many people saw it for the first 3 seconds? How many completed 25% and so on? So crazy amount of metrics. A lot of them could go wrong. A lot of them could go right, but you may not achieve your end objective. It makes no sense if people are viewing through your video but not clicking. It doesn't also make sense if they're clicking too much, but your leads are not qualified. So all in all, there are just n number of data. The first bucket I've talked about in some detail, but the next four I'll just glance over. GA4 is analytics, which is implemented on our website, and we mostly use it to both track events and key events. So scroll is an event, purchase is a key event. We have a good funnel, at least for our landing pages, to see how many people landed on the page from Meta because we drew traffic campaigns. How many of them actually started the session? How many scrolled? Who clicked the button? And how did that funnel sort of translate to the end? Google Drive is pretty simple. We all know it, right? That's where we have put our videos, statics, and copy. And from my marketing experience, I can tell you that just this one single bucket, forget everything else if somebody can solve, because there are a number of combinations on what copy works for who and on what creative. That itself is a big game changer on how your campaigns perform. The backend is pretty simple. That's where we compare the actual leads to. The landing page code is where the metapixel is implemented and there's a conversion flow. So without automation, it was taking, I was doing it myself, taking me 2 hours per analysis cycle. The data was stale by the time, one would act on it. And these are just examples of what you could miss. These were actually discovered by the skill. Broken UTMs going undetected for weeks till you get to that analysis and start doing it. Missing pixel, which was missing on one of our landing pages. It kills optimization, and creative fatigue bleeds budget. So, and I've led, large marketing teams, complex sort of, and very large budgets. And often, even with stitching a lot of data together, a lot of this sort of analysis it's reactive if things are not going well. But now imagine you have, a system, an AI, a skill, whatever we want to call it, which works for you and proactively helps you identify some of these things. Not going to go too deep into this, but this is the age-old method of how we used to do it without AI, using spreadsheets, right? It would vary by person, but you get a bunch of data either from CSVs, PDFs, create pivot tables and whatnot. Watch your video creatives or look at your, static creatives. Ideate with 2, 3 people in what could be working, what could not be working, and write some report in saying, "Here's my hunch," right? Uh, a lot of it, is how we have worked in the past, but that's not a scalable model. And a human can't do a lot of these things, or rather would not each time at scale. For example, that read that landing page code to verify if things are working well. Think of a diagnostic chain and so on. So the method 2 is a standalone LLM. I used to do it until a couple of weeks ago, till I came to Bala's session and he said, use Claude Code and use it with terminal to 10x. And I, decided to bite the bullet, and I still have the subscription of my old LLM. I'm now trying to figure out how to use it as an API and still get the max out of those tokens. But this is what I used to do on POE. And while it makes things much, much faster than just the approach number 1, uh, it helped me spot patterns humans miss, do a natural language Q&A, faster hypothesis testing, ideation, and so on. What still broke was context window limits. It's not like Claude that you can, share old sort of data with it. I had come up with some sort of a hack of, I had some 30-page document where I kept adding across sessions. I would summarize that document, pass it back as context, but it was not methodical, right? Now in Claude, I have a file called historical performance.md. And that's just a very clean way of passing that information back each time because I've given it access to my computer. So, that memory across sessions. It was extremely difficult to read images, PDFs, and videos. I came up with, again, some workarounds. Like for videos, I created what are called SRT files. They're sort of script files. I added some more information to it to give it to the AI and so on, so that it could tell me, hey, you know what? Your hook is lasting 5 seconds. That's probably too much. Try to cut it down to 3 seconds. Otherwise, people are going to, flip, and it would do it on the basis of own knowledge and some, search across best practices to make video reels and those kind of links. So it was very empowering, to be honest. And 45 minutes instead of a full day was good, but wasn't still completely there, right? Because in some sense, I became the integration layer to make sense of all that data, right? Uh, Method 3 is a Claude Code skill, which is what we are talking about. I named this meta dash analysis. It needs to be stress tested and is not fully ready yet, but in 5 minutes, right? You give it a lot of this data. Next step probably will be figuring out APIs and ingesting this data on its own. Right now, I'm just doing, say file downloads from Meta Business Manager. I chatted with Claude and said, what more metrics would you need? The first time I was configuring it. So I went to Meta Business Manager, customized those columns, added a lot of those fields so that that template is ready. And now that I download those CSVs from Meta Business Manager, those PDFs from Google Analytics, I give it the videos in Drive, and it's got a system where it, does video frame analysis second by second. So now I don't need to do that SRT file anymore. And it sort of, does all that. We've already spoken about the landing page because more than just the code, it understands what the flow is and is able to correlate it to the Google funnel and what intent are we sending traffic by for because of copy and audience and so on, and is able to get all that data and all those variables together to do analysis on a lot of these things, including creative fatigue, diagnostic chain detection, frame by frame video analysis, and so on. And it produces a scoreboard and confidence. This is before running the campaign. After the data comes winners and losers, a funnel analysis on the GA4 analysis, or a broader funnel on saying from CPM to traffic to purchase, right? Because there are two different funnels in two different systems. The second one is on your website, first one is on Meta. And while you do pass it back conversion events via the pixel, they're not always accurate. And the full funnel is not stitched together because Meta may still tell you to a certain amount of accuracy that from the leads that came from Meta or the traffic that came from Meta, here are the 5 people, or there were 5 leads rather. Who were those 5, and what were the intermediate steps? Meta can't tell you. And for that, you need to unify 2 or 3 data sources, which is what it does. Not going to spend too much time here. We can come back to this slide, but this is just the 3 methods, sort of compared. We will have this deck with the recording, so please feel free to go through it. But I've broadly talked about everything between the 3. Clearly, the Claude Code skill, the green box, is much faster. It's a winner. Sure, it can be improved further. So for those of you who are new to what a skill is, it's a reusable expert prompt with full tool access and persistent memory. We already spoke about the context on product, audience, benchmarks, and history. History is extremely important in this. Benchmarks are what you're expecting based on either your own research or you would ask it to create benchmarks. They are, for some of those things like CTR and hook rate, probably good to use benchmarks and see what is it that we are aiming. All the different variables. We've spoken about the creative, copy, landing page, audience, and so on. We ideate a lot on landing pages to perfect the flow, to balance friction, not reduce friction, but add sufficient amount of friction. And that's important in marketing because you can't completely remove it. 14 different data sources, 10 analysis steps, and 11 output sections. That's what the meta-analysis skill is. A prompt says, analyze this marketing data, then you paste, format, and repaste that data. The skill says, here is where all the data lives, how to read it, what metrics matter, and how to present findings. Then it runs autonomously. Here are some real findings, and I'm going to switch window in a second because this slide doesn't do full justice. But here is what meta-analysis told us, that 57% of our budget was going towards feed. Remember, I spoke about placement. It had the worst CPL. If we looked at reels as a placement, we were getting comparable number of leads at half the cost, whereas in-stream reels were a pure waste, right? I already spoke about the missing meta pixel, which it proactively looked at our landing page code and said, of one of those 3 flows, one has the pixel missing. We were using an agency, and the agency had duplicated a UTM string, which was, classifying all paid traffic as organic social. So it found out that, UTM attribution. I would have probably found it, but maybe 2-3 hours of effort and a lot of thinking, why is this and this number not matching and so on. Uh, Copy greater than creative. This is my favorite. Same image, different headline, 5x CPL difference, right? And it gives you the ability to test n such number of combinations. Allow me a second. I will just go to my Claude Code window. Not go too deep here, but right. Essentially, it had a creative asset inventory and assessment. So what you see here is all the creatives, the format, and the result.
Can you zoom in a little bit, Varun?
Sure. One sec.
I think you can press Shift Command Plus.
I'm on a Windows.
I know Control Command.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got the creatives, and a lot of hygiene I started doing after this, which is naming the files right and so on, so that follow some consistency and able to sort of see. And as you can sort of see that it's talking about fatigued on job seeker, which is an audience. So the CPL really went up, and this is compared to historical sort of performance on the same audience. So a lot of cool sort of stuff came. It gives you priority 1 and priority 2 creatives, and this is the test next, as you can see. So this is a hypothesis forming on the basis of you have a library of creatives. Here is your history. Here is your performance, and it tells you from the next available set of creatives based on the data we have so far. Here are the next two to test because of XYZ. And now, it's both becoming personal and proactive than reactive. It's got a lot of diagnostic patterns and so on. I'm going to quickly write. And, it's created in the skill a lot of these sort of focus area commands. If you want to do a specific example rather than specific analysis rather than the full analysis. So yeah, in that sense, right, quite empowering. Slightly busy slide, but single message. Skills are not written in one shot. They evolve through conversation. That's extremely important. But yeah, beyond a point, I think I'm there 80%. We'll probably refine it 20% more. But quite empowering to get all that data in 5 minutes. The before and after, while I've, talking about it enough, the interesting one to me is the institutional memory is not in someone's head, but it's in that skill file. And often, we are able to think so much, but not able to replicate that thinking consistently each time because we don't have deep thinking time every time we run such analysis. So this is a great opportunity to, translate that into a skills file or codify it into that skills file so that you achieve a similar sort of thing. Again, lots of data on how to build your own skills. What works for me, and I built 3 different skills by now, is to converse, save, and then iterate. So the third step we're still doing to make it production ready. Yeah. So yeah, final sort of slide relating to the own work I'm doing. Skills are being automated. How do we sort of, thrive and survive in this era? Our belief is courses won't save you. And it is things like, applied learning, like we are doing here at the club, is what is going to be important for us to, sort of make the most of it. I will stop sharing. And Bala and Nimit, look to you to see if we need to take some questions now or just pass on to Yash.
There is
But
just one question. Probably we can do that
sure.
and we can go to Yash. Samrid Sharma is asking, can we see the actual meta-analysis skill file?
What I will do is, it's not production ready, but at least in a small group, send it to you. I was trying to, before the session, look at it, but I couldn't figure out, sit somewhere, but I will pull it out.
Awesome.
A couple of hours is what I would say. But remember, I had a lot of the information in my head because one, I've spent a lot of time in this area, but the second, more importantly, in the method 2, the LLM that I spoke about, I'd already gone through that iteration of what I want out of it, what data is available and what not. If you start from scratch, you know the domain, my guess is 2 to 3 days is what it will take you.
Yeah. Hey, hi, Varun. So, getting some context because I have seen this evolve. So, 3 weeks back when Varun and I spoke, I think a month back or 3 weeks back, this was not in the current stage that it is in. And while, of course, Varun, you're saying couple of hours, that was couple of hours of sitting down, but the days or weeks of course, thinking about this problem, I mean, that's always there. But Varun, could you also possibly spend a little time sharing your screen and the workflow that you mentioned on the slides? If you could just show that, even if it is say incomplete, I would say that's okay. But that would really make it visible for the audience on how exactly you do some of these things.
Without the skill, that is?
With or without the skills, just the workflow that you mentioned, if you can just walk through the actual files, the prompts, and how it has access to your local, and then what sort of CSVs it is creating, what sort of images, because you have spoken about the creatives, the placement. So what sort of creatives, if we see the actual creatives, we will understand exactly what you are referring to.
Sure. So maybe what we can do is we can go ahead with Yash session. Till that time, I'll just organize the folders and files and so on.
Yeah.
Great.
Lovely.
I think there's another question. There are a few more questions for you, Varun, in the chat.
Let's take that towards the end. Yeah, I think yes, we'll.
Yeah, we can take it later. That's fine.
Sounds good. I'll be just sharing my screen. Hope it's visible. Great. So yeah, whether be it marketing or performance marketing, I'm sure every one of you have spent like a lot of hours going through ads libraries, scouting ads, going through the static images, going through the videos, and it keeps iterating, right? Brands keep testing, they keep launching newer creatives. So it was a lot of manual effort that hopefully I've automated with this skill with respect to competitor ad scouting. And we'll be doing it today with an example of protein brands in India. Since it's the buzzword, the results that come out of this, hopefully the crowd will be able to understand the insights a lot more faster. So that's what we've done over here. Yeah, I think all of us started marketing primarily as a vibes guy. I myself grew up watching Mad Men, and I always thought like marketing is mostly vibes and style and thought process. It is that, but definitely it's evolved over the past 10 years to be a more data-driven marketing approach. And that's where it helps non-technical guys or people who are not good with data to sort of leverage Claude to engage with data with a more natural language process. So this is how we are going to do it. How to do ad scouting manually or through Claude Code. The toolkit that's used for it, we'll be using Claude Code. There's a Puppeteer MCP that gets installed for free, which takes screenshots, and then definitely leveraging Meta Ads library. And Then we'll go through why Claude Code specifically works better versus using Cowork, which will eventually take up more credits, versus doing it manually, where obviously it's an effort-intensive process. We'll go through the protocol itself. I've built out an MD file skill to do that. Everything that's required to be installed has been sort of incorporated into the MD file itself. So it's almost like a plug and play. It's something that I can share post the session. You just input the brands that you want to sort of survey. You input the meta ads library links for those brands, and the skill itself will build all the files that are required to sort of execute the ad scouting and give you a detailed report post that. And with respect to creative iteration, I've built like a custom process to sort of analyze the ads itself. We'll go through that later. I'll just give you a walkthrough of the final report itself that was undertaken. Hope my screen is visible with respect to the ads. So yeah, 4 protein brands. The skill went through ads library of all these 4 brands. It searched for the keyword protein itself. It went through all the ads that the brands had. It took screenshots of the latest 5 ads, but it has analyzed all the 554 ads to give out the analysis that we'll go through. So at a macro level, it has analyzed these many ads for each of the brands. It also gives an active ad volume count for the category itself. It gives a share of voice.
Yes, can you zoom in?
Okay, yeah. 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 So it's giving a share of voice for the overall brands that protein ads that they are building. This is the custom format that I was talking about. Motivators, as we know, as part of the Andromeda update, Meta is also pushing us to build ads via motivators rather than user personas primarily. It's analyzing the copy of the ad, the copy on the caption as well. It's analyzing the hook, it's analyzing the visual itself, and it's analyzing the social proof or offer. So each information with respect to individual ad gets bucketed into the roadmap. So the skill MD itself is the original file which executes the ad. There's another MD file that I built post the analysis where all this information gets stored in a roadmap, so that eventually when people shut down these ads, people start new ads, that entire context stays in the roadmap ad, and any analysis that needs to be undertaken remains clean of the actual skill MD file that we want to execute. Why Puppeteer MCP is specifically required is it opens the ads manager, it opens the specific ad, clicks on see all details and takes the screenshot of that specific ad, and then the analysis can be undertaken. So the top 5 ads will be sort of analyzed over here, and then because it cannot analyze video specifically, all the video ads links have been also shared over here. So these can be undertaken manually. But the next step of the process is I'm trying to use anti-gravity primarily, so that Claude Code as well as Gemini is also connected at the same time. And Gemini has the ability to sort of analyze videos natively at a lesser context scale. So I think that's the next progression, evolution of this workflow. So yeah, another key thing that it also checks for is motivator map. It checks for what kind of angles these brands are specifically taking, what kind of ads or angles that they are testing at a higher velocity. So it, as a competitor, I can probably choose to understand that this particular angle is probably working very well for this brand. I can also choose to sort of capitalize on it, or I can figure out what are the gaps that other competitors are not leveraging, and then I can sort of build out creatives as per that, and then test it accordingly. So yeah, that's the entire report. I'll go back to the presentation. Happy to share the report post the session as well. So yeah, how the protocol itself work, definitely we'll require Claude Code integrated through to be used via VS Code or anti-gravity. I would suggest using anti-gravity so that we can leverage Gemini as well. Puppeteer MCP, it's a free MCP that can be installed by yourself or can be installed through the skill MD file that I have built. And then the ads library is what will be leveraged to sort of scout the ads. And last is the custom format to evaluate the ads itself. You can build out your own format basis your understanding. This is just something that I've sort of built through. This is what I think works best. So yeah, the old way definitely takes a lot of time, almost like an entire person to sort of, if people are performance marketers not working on a specific category, if a performance marketer is doing that across different products, different categories, this in itself could be a one-person job in itself for a person in an organization. But through Claude Cowork, it takes control of your laptop and browser and does it manually. It would take actually 3 to 4 hours and a lot of wasted credits to do it across 4 brands, across about 500 ads to be undertaken. But if you do it through Claude Code, the entire process happens in the background. You have the Claude MD file to sort of walk you through everything. And the context also again gets stored into an MD file. So it becomes almost like a repeatable effort. A complex task like this, the report that I just showed, building it through Claude Cowork would not only exhaust credits, but the Claude will start hallucinating. So the end result will never be as good as what Claude Code throws up for a multi-stage complex ask like this. So definitely Claude Code is the clear winner to sort of execute that. And not only that, it just, even if someone was to start from beginning, like I mentioned, the MD file will sort of build everything that's required to sort of execute that. That's not something Claude Cowork will sort of do on its own. So yeah, like I mentioned, keep the two different. Ideally, the core skill that you want to build, that should be kept in a different MD file, and whatever learnings that you've done, because obviously ads will keep getting removed from competitors, build all of that into a roadmap or any feedback MD file. Post the session, I'll share the files. You can just drop the MD file into your project folder, open it via your anti-gravity or VS Code, and just add your own specific brands with respect to ads library and do it. Before we move on to the next slide, I'll just show it once quickly in a plan mode as to how to sort of execute this. Yeah. So for example, if you see, this is everything that it creates on its own. Only this ad scouting compact is this MD file skill that it starts with. And it creates all these separate files. It takes the screenshots as per respective brands. It stores it in its respective profile folder, Muscle Blaze, Whole Truth, Super You, Wellbeing, Nutrition. All the ads are stored here separately as per screenshots. And this is the original file. For example, this is what we are starting with already, just right. So I'll just show it in a plan mode. Ad scouting MD file to be used to analyze. I'm taking toothpaste brands now, modern D2C toothpaste brands now, and analyze them via the MCHVSO framework. I'm right now doing it only for the latest 2 ads to be pulled, but the entire ads will be scouted in the background. So if we just run it in the plan mode, and we'll come back to it, it will just sort of describe all the things that the skills MD file is going to execute. We'll come back to the screen. Yeah. So yeah, what it will actually do is, once we give it the context, it will run its analysis. It will open a browser in the background. It will search for the keyword that you've given that it wants to search for. It will go through all the ads, but it will take screenshot for whatever criteria you've given. Say the top 5 ads, the latest 5 ads is what something that you want to analyze. You can also go back by the longest standing ads, the ones that are running since a long time. They are usually the better performing ads. So you can run an analysis on that as well. And it takes screenshots. So Puppeteer MCP takes the screenshots and then stores the screenshots in the respective folders. It extracts all the other information, caption copy used, all the different types of formatting that has been used in the ad. And then it does a teardown, basis the custom format for analysis of ads that I have listed down. And then it synthesizes and builds the PDF report. It builds first the HTML, but then because I have custom set the skill to sort of build a PDF towards the end, and I've also given it a final PDF, the eventual report, a dummy report of how I want it. So it also tests the output, whether that final output is as per the format that I have given it as a dummy report, so that it fixes formatting errors as well. So building out those sort of quality control loops within your MD file or your process is also very important. So yeah, it's given a breakdown of all the kind of competitor ads that it has analyzed. It's testing for testing velocity. For example, Muscle Blaze has tested about 48 new creatives over the month, whereas other brands are focusing more so on their positioning. It's not focusing on a lot of offers. Super U, as you all know, has a brand ambassador in Ranveer. Whole Truth primarily focuses on founder-led advertising, and well-being also focuses on clean protein primarily. So they are buying beliefs. So none of this has been done manually. Everything has been done by Claude itself, and it's right now we are able to analyze it very easily because we are familiar with the protein category ourselves, and it's very quickly making sense. But for example, if you were to do it for any of our clients, any of the brands that we are not familiar with, that's the kind of detailing that it's quickly pulling out as part of the process. So this is the custom format that I've sort of built out, figuring out the motivators, analyzing the copy, analyzing the hook. As you all know, that's the most critical thing, whether it be static ads, whether it be video ads specifically. It analyzes the visual as well. It analyzes whether any kind of social proof has been used within this so that we can leverage, and definitely the offer CTA. So while it does it at a creative level through natural language, you can sort of figure out what kind of offers, what kind of price points it is that at that specific point competitors are playing with. So this is also something that can be done as stage 2, stage 3 through natural programming, natural language. You can sort of ask very pointed questions and sort of integrate that into your work stream. So yeah, here are some examples of in full screen deck version how it has been analyzed for Super U, all the respective parameters for Muscle Blaze. And it has also checked for the motivators that primarily these brands are using. So it's identified that Muscle Blaze works on the angle of performance and absorption primarily. The Whole Truth works on clean label primarily. Well-being focuses on women. Super U clearly works on celebrity aspiration. And these are the white spaces that probably a new brand can sort of focus on in terms of positioning, or even from a tactical perspective, from performance marketing. These kind of angles can be sort of explored, whether to go into the white space category or definitely try to sort of cannibalize on other competitors' output as well. So some more insights that can come out as part of executive summary, but then this has been covered more so in detail as part of the detailed report. So yeah, that's it from my end at this point, and until Dario drops another model. 4.7 has just launched, and definitely we all await the launch of Mythos. Hopefully it gets available to public soon. So yeah, that's it from my end. Thank you so much. Thanks, Bala, for enabling this, and definitely looking forward to leveraging this community more so in the future and learning a lot of things.
Hey, thank you, guys. This is incredible what you have actually done. Yeah, like Varun mentioned, you can actually sell this to an agency. This is most of an agency's job.
Thank you so much. A lot of work that we did with Varun himself. We've set up a really cool brand. Not going to plug in a lot over here, but yeah, it stemmed a lot from working with Varun in terms of challenges, and he was one of the early proponents of AI within the organization itself. So apart from the kind of things that I was building, I was focusing more on building videos, building creatives in that space, and then definitely as part of executing performance, he was the sort of driving factor into sort of diversifying more. So yeah, a lot of credit to Varun as well.
Yeah, what
So-
you're saying is that if somebody every third sentence is why can't AI do this, then you have no choice, right? But yeah.
No, this is amazing. Super.
So, Yash, Yash or Varun, can we then go to the screen? I think the command that you put.
I have it ready if
Yeah, let's do that.
right.
Let's do
So
that.
I've opened a couple of different, and I'll show you guys a few. Also give Yash a little bit breather. So essentially, right, like I pointed out, I'd given it access to my Google Drive where all the creatives are. I'll just show you one we'll just glance through this one video creative to, we'll not go through that entirely, but okay, give it a second.
We replace this. The headlines are terrifying, but data will save your career. Upload your resume to get a free AI exposure scan in 60 seconds.
So it's it's a very quick, fast, one of those motion graphics sort of, reels with screenshots. Starts with this typical hook, the first 3 seconds and so on. What I just did is I went into the skill and, just ran this, asked it to, one sec, yeah. Asked it to, do a analysis of this video. And if you recall from the session, I'd said it can convert it into frame by frame to do that analysis. And essentially, it took a couple of minutes, extracted all the 13 frames, and did some creative deep dive. And remember, it has access to context. I'm not specifically pointed out to historical performance right now. If I do that, it could become sharper because I have to compact, bane of our lives, compact the session before this. But just look at it, right? It said that this is a 13.2 second video. It's 9 by 16, 1080 by 1920. It's got a frame by frame breakdown to say in the first second, we've got Klaus Schwab close up, what sort of a backdrop it has. His hands are steepled. Here's the caption text overlay. It self-assessed that that's the hook, right? It's assessed that from 2 to 3 seconds, the hook continues, right? On second 4, there's a hard cut, right? And here is the caption display. What is the assessment? So it's got a flow, right? Hook, pivot, product reveal continues, call to action. It's all done on its own. I've deliberately given it a video that I have not given it to it before, right? So it's done all that, and it's got a qualifier, upsell reveal, and those kind of things. And now it has a detailed assessment. I have not read it myself, but it says there are some critical problems. Like the same single camera angle holds for 3 full seconds with no cut, zoom, pan, or motion. Typically, B-rolls is what we ingest, right? The pivot, seconds 4 to 5, excellent concept, but poor execution on frame 4, right? Things like second 5 is much stronger than there is product reveal, which is too abrupt, no connective tissue. And I mean, it goes on and on, right? The upsell reveal, ambitious but problematic, and so on. And then, it's also given the caption and text overlay, which are the motion graphics and assessment. It has taken out some history. Comparison to the winning pattern, which we had one more, the Musk reel, which has been the best historical video performer. So key differences to watch and a structural issue summary. It does, since it's FF MPEG, it does not assess the voiceover. So it's saying silent viewing is common, but probably that's an enhancement to make in the next version, which is where I was talking about iteration. While it is a very slippery slope, I must warn you, I've created my own motion graphics tool. Yash has seen some glimpses of it. This probably, I was chuckling while reading some of this, probably will lead to an enhancement to that tool to take some AI tokens and take some of this and, just create the video from a library of our product images, those videos, the motion graphics that we have created in that tool. That's coming next. That tool's pretty usable. I'm doing my own LinkedIn video posts, using that. A lot of crazy enhancements I've done in the last 2 weeks on that. But that's probably what, video production and that tool enhancement is going, where it's going next. So Nimit, hope that helps with some practical example, both of the skill and data.
Yeah. Anybody else in the audience who has any questions or more clarifications. Definitely helps me. Yes.
There is one question on token consumption.
Yes.
Yeah.
Token anxiety. I think we have to coin a new term called token anxiety.
At least I haven't tracked it. Both for Nimit and I, the anxiety is reverse. We're saying, how the hell do we spend all our tokens
Yeah,
and not let them go
get more
waste?
value more than
Yeah,
spending.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this for a fact that, just the meta-analysis skill, right? And Yash can, chip in. I think it will take one day of work of a performance uh, marketing campaign manager, right? Let's, for argument's sake, say that person's salary is 60,000 rupees over that 20-day period. So that's 3,000 rupees plus seat cost, plus hiring cost, training cost, and whatnot, right? If you can extract 3,000 rupees from a 9,000 rupee conversation, just one single conversation, I mean, it is a game changer, right? Nimit and I were chatting about this in some context of how we have to treat this not as a cost line item, but at least for startup guys and, as an employee in our org chart. So at least, we are thinking of extracting value of it that way. It is going to more than pay for itself.
Another key thing that you can always do is obviously any activity that you do start with plan mode always. And once you've hit it in plan mode, you can just ask it through natural language how many tokens is it going to consume. And you can also keep your usage from Claude Code settings open in another window. So you'll know at any given point of time approximately what token usage is it going to do, and then you can go ahead and execute that. You can keep checking with the Claude Code itself as to how to sort of simplify that process, even with respect to building out separate MD files. How do you want to break it up? How do you want to reduce the context? How do you want to reduce token usage? Claude itself will sort of help you with that kind of insight.
Yes, there's
Getting
one more for
Suchit has a
you.
question.
Yeah, one more for you, but I'll begin by saying that a lot of people, and I think there was a question earlier also on, is there a ready tool to do something like this? So related to that, the risk is exactly this, uh, uh, because, these tools are randomly making a lot of hits to Meta, either to protect their data or to not let their service degrade, or both. They're blocking access to a lot of accounts. Though for Yash's use case, I don't think it applies. But for performance marketing use cases, which you run out of your own business manager, which is behind a login, that is a real risk, which is why I have also not yet, done those API bits. But my assumption is if you do that linking, you have to be careful in limiting how many times that API hits your account and act more like a human. That control, unfortunately, you don't have in some of these new age tools, which are promising analysis every hour, every minute, and so on. It's quite crazy. Yes, I don't think it applies to you because it's open as library,
Yeah,
right?
it's open as library. But yeah, even for your workflow, I think through coupler.io or any other, a couple of other folks in chat have also suggested other comments as other players in this category as well. So at least do it for read-only access. Don't use it for doing the actions itself. I think that's when people are getting blocked. At least that's what I got through Reddit.
So I think Gurunathan, you asked a good question, and I don't have a ready answer, but I will tell you that at Times Pro we had invested a lot of energy in creating a data pipeline, or rather a data lake in BigQuery, uh, to ingest different sources of data into one place and build a lot of dashboards on the top of it and so on. But in some sense, it was still passive, but a game changer. But I'm quite sure some of what you say to make it systemized and put standard reports out there across some of these things, that's quite possible in a production sort of environment. uh, Bala, any thoughts from you on that? And Yash, then I think somebody wants to see your flow as well. So if you can get ready, that would be great.
Yeah. I mean, to answer Guru's question, yeah, definitely is possible. These things you can easily do it.
Great. Yash,
We
till the
probably do
time you
one.
are bringing up your screen. Yeah, Bharat, just one more point.
No, I was just saying, like, probably we'll do a session on, how do you run a lot of these Claude Code workflows autonomously on some servers. I think it's an important topic.
Yeah. The same time, just maybe taking a step back from so Yash and Varun both, the kind of thinking that has gone into, say, building this, just want to understand. So think the this the blocker to building any sort of an agent at this point is not again the technical skill, but having what rules should go. So writing the rules into an algorithm or writing the rules into the workflow are obviously easy now, but actually asking what rules to go. So if you could also talk about how you have arrived at this framework is what we want to go for. This is the analysis we want to do because, of course, these are some playbooks which are available across the board, but not everybody uses the same playbooks. What has led you to this is more of a meta thinking question. And when I say meta, I don't mean meta platform, I mean meta in the original sense of the word.
At least for me, the two frames to apply are one, anything that is taking too much time. Or, if analyzed well, can lead to, 10x sort of outcomes, even if it is very hard to do. And if it's got an intersection across both, then nothing like it. In some sense, what works for me, Nimit, is doing rather than thinking too much. So even if that means that I have to manually do that analysis across 4 systems and figure out, what those screens are and so on. Because what I've tried is, while creating a lot of these sort of skills and systems, tried to ask Claude to do a web search on, say, when I was creating that motion graphics, in what are the, amazing motion graphic guidelines these days. But I'll tell you that only helped to a certain level. I had to go to motion graphic systems, which I'd seen, or I took screenshots of ads with cool motion graphics and gave it those screenshots. And as I want you to build, these 4. So the system in some sense is limited, but that guidance has to come from you very massively. So this skill is going to be very powerful if you do that thinking and that homework yourself. Beyond that, you don't have to worry about how it's going to code or, whatever, which is the good part. Yash, are you ready?
Yes, certainly. Just one second. So I'll just show it in plan mode how the file itself will work. Hope my screen is visible. So, like I showed you, I've opened that specific folder within anti-gravity, and it just got this ad scouting compact MD skill, right? And everything else that's required, it will build it itself. That's how it's been coded into. So, while referring to that specific MD file, I've asked Claude Code to sort of analyze ads for Oracura and Perfora, which are toothpaste ad brands, D2C toothpaste brands. And I've asked it while I've written it down over here for your information. We don't need to write it down. We just need to add ads library links. Everything else happens at the back end. But for everyone to see right now, I'm adding find that toothpaste ads. You just need to give the keyword that you want to check for. Find toothpaste ads static specifically. Ignore the video ads. Even that happens in the background properly. Analyze them via the MCHVSO framework. This is explained within the MD file itself. only the latest 2 ads to be used for each brand to build the report. So this you can customize as per your specific requirement, analyze the last longest running top 5 ads for these brands, analyze the latest 5 running ads for these brands, and within the ads library filter itself, the tool will do all the selections basis the criteria that you've given. And below are the ads manager links for the 2 brands. So I've just added the 2 links from the ads libraries. And then just for the purpose of this conversation, I've asked using this MD file, how many tokens approximately will it take? So it ran through the entire scenario, and it has shown the plan that it actually does. It installs Puppeteer. It installs a lot of other complex things that even I'm not fully familiar with. It builds out the folders that are required to sort of do that analysis, first take the screenshots. So it will take screenshots of the logos of the brand also, because obviously we need to sort of make this report directly. We want it to be executive level kind of a report that we can just ship out to our business leadership team or the performance marketing team so that it can be consumed. It takes the captures of all the respective brands and categorizes them into the respective folders basis the brand names that you've given, Perfora and Oracura in this case, or the 414 brands that we had mentioned, and it builds a reports folder. So then in the background, it opens up Chrome browser individually. Opens up the ads library links. It takes the screenshots, puts the filters, takes the screenshots after clicking on see all details, and then after all the screenshots are taken, it runs the analysis as per the framework that it has been given, the MCHPSO analysis. It first builds out it in the output report in an HTML format, and then converts it to a viewable PDF basis the dummy report that I've given it to build the formatting of the report around. So right now we are doing it only for 2 brands, and we are doing it for only the latest 2 ads. So it's taking about 30 to 45,000. If we do it for about 4 brands and say top 5 ads screenshot, the screenshots is what's taking a lot of tokens. The analysis itself is not taking a lot of tokens. Bear that in mind. But if I were to do the protein brands, similar 4 brands, about 5 creatives, 20 creatives in total, it would take about 150,000 to 160,000 tokens, which is about 4-hour session. I think it will max out that plus some more natural language queries that you might want to execute. So I think still not a lot, not very expensive, but definitely, as Varun was mentioning, I think the output that comes out of it definitely is worth the time that you spend doing it manually, and also cancels out subjectivity. For example, if I'm doing the analysis myself, it might be very difficult. For example, if Varun is running his own business, he's doing everything, assessing competitors, he doesn't have the time to sort of go through every competitor, or even someone younger within the organization is doing it. He might not have the same tactical news to sort of do the analysis at their end like I would have probably done it. So this sort of cancels out both the factor and saves a lot of time on the efficiency. I hope that covers how to do it sort of practically as well. After this, you just